The scholars will be given time once again for their closing arguments. And after that, the most important part of this debate is that you and I and the millions of people watching on the internet will have a question and answer session. So for those of you who are present here, we will try to take some of your questions. We have allocated 30 minutes for that, and in this way, the 2-hour debate will be completed. There are 2 or 3 basic things that we need to keep in mind. We must not participate in any kind of sloganeering. This is not a ruckus. Since the whole world is watching, we have to set a precedent, an example for people that educated individuals, despite their agreements and disagreements, can still have a conversation while agreeing and disagreeing with each other. My professor from JNU, Purushottam Agrawal ji, is sitting here. He taught us in class about the courage to agree and the wisdom to disagree, and also the exact opposite. This is very important. Secondly, this is not a debate about any one religion. This should be absolutely clear to everyone. This is not a debate to prove any religion is great or to belittle any religion. So if anyone is watching or has come here with that expectation, I want to assure you that you will be disappointed. Regarding the use of too many religious symbols in this debate, these 2 people who may seem serious to you now are good people. They met for tea yesterday evening, and there was a lot of laughter and joking between them. And there was even a picture of them with their arms around each other. This is proof that, compared to the uproar on the internet, these 2 individuals have agreed to debate in a very good and calm manner. Let's keep Twitter's matters limited to Twitter. Elon Musk calls it X these days. And now, to begin the debate, I will introduce these scholars, although they don't need an introduction, but it's possible. We are taught in journalism to never assume. Science also says the same thing. Mufti Shamail Nadwi Sahab is an Islamic scholar and educationist. He is the founder of the Vian Foundation in Kolkata. He has graduated from the prestigious Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama of Lucknow. He is active in teaching and intellectual work on social media and public platforms, and is currently pursuing his PhD from the International Islamic University, Malaysia. The good thing is that, along with his studies, he also creates travel blogs. We saw his blog from in front of the Petronas Towers. With us is Javed Akhtar Sahab. Javed Akhtar Sahab is a poet, a lyricist. He also writes prose. He has written dialogues for films, and he has written songs. Apart from this, he is also vocal about his scientific thinking or his declared atheism, and from his side, he talks about rationality. Ladies and gentlemen, does God exist? Everyone is trying to find the answer to this question in their own way. Some call it the discovery of the goddamn particle, some call it the discovery of the God particle, and some call it the discovery of the Higgs boson. Some try to find the answer to how mass came into existence, what happened, what was there before creation, before time. And some say that the brain, where all these discoveries are taking place, how did it evolve in the course of nature? So I hope that today we will be successful in finding some answers to these fundamental questions. First of all, I would like to invite Mufti Shamail Nadwi to the stage. Please come, sir. Yes. One last request. Before you start speaking, could everyone please put their phones on flight mode or silent mode? Please double check, as we sometimes forget.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praises for the Creator who created this universe with a purpose. Respected Mr. Javed Akhtar, Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi, and respected audience, thank you all for being here today. In today's debate, since we are going to discuss the significant and thought-provoking topic, Does God Exist? It's a subject where a variety of different standards can be used to reach a decision. Therefore, at the very start of this debate, it is important to establish and clarify which standard will be considered right and which will be considered wrong for this particular topic. The very first standard, which I believe our respected Mr. Javed Akhtar will quickly turn to, is the standard of science. Whereas in reality, science cannot be the standard to directly prove or deny the existence of God. And what is the reason for that? I am not the one saying this. This is being said by the experts in science. The National Academy of Sciences says Science currently does not possess the necessary processes or methodologies to definitively prove or disprove the existence of God. Why is this the case? Because science deals with empirical evidence, and empirical evidence is related to our natural and physical world, whereas God is a non-physical and supernatural reality. Therefore, you cannot test a non-physical reality with a tool whose function is to investigate physical reality. Therefore, in today's debate, any form of scientific evidence will not be accepted or considered as a valid means to demonstrate, prove, or deny the existence of God. The second standard could be revelation, meaning that through the process of revelation, we can attempt to prove whether God exists or not.
But even this standard is irrelevant today. Why?
Because for me, revelation is a source of knowledge, a valid source of knowledge. But for our Javed Akhtar Sahab, it is not a valid source of knowledge. Therefore, in today's debate, I will not present a single piece of evidence from any religious scripture. So that it is not unacceptable for Javed Akhtar Sahab, the third criterion that could be used is observation. For someone to say, show us God. If he exists, then show us. Or to demand empirical evidence for God's existence. That is, in fact, using the wrong tool. It's as if Javed Sahab were to demand of me, Mufti Sahab, use a metal detector to detect plastic for us. Now, since the plastic cannot be detected, therefore plastic does not exist. No, you are using the wrong tool. Plastic cannot be detected with this tool. Therefore, I believe that demanding empirical evidence for God's existence is a childish demand. And our respected Mr. Javed Akhtar Sahab has moved far beyond this stage. Now, only one standard remains. And that standard is intellect, logic, and reasoning. And this is the objective standard by which God's existence will be proven or God's existence will be denied. But since this is a very important and sensitive topic, the logical argument must also be definitive, not indefinite. It should be as clear as 2 and 2 make 4. One that is not possible to reject logically. For example, let's say our respected Mr. Saurabh Sahab is a human being, and all human beings are conscious beings.
So what is the conclusion? Our Saurabh Sahab is also a conscious being.
Is this an indefinite argument or a definitive argument? This is a definitive argument. It is as clear as 2 and 2. It cannot be logically rejected in any way. So if today our Javed Akhtar Sahab provides such an intellectual and logical evidence for the non-existence of God, which is also definitive, then I declare that I will certainly accept that evidence and reflect upon it. But at the same time, I also declare as a prediction that no one can present such a definitive argument. We will provide the argument. And we will provide a definitive argument, a logical argument, an argument that the entire atheistic world cannot refute. All right? Now let's think of an example, a scenario, a simple scenario. I request the entire audience. You and I are on an isolated island, an island where no one has ever been before us. As you're walking along, you suddenly see a pink-colored ball lying in front of you. What's the very first question that will come to your mind? Why is this ball here? How did it get here? Why is it specifically pink? It could have been some other color. Why is it this particular shape? It could have been some other shape. Naturally, you will arrive at the conclusion that there is someone who created this ball with these specific properties and placed it here. Because, as you know, because this ball, its existence is not necessary. It could have existed and it could also have not existed. And if it had to exist, it could have been in some other form. It could have been in some other color. Now you keep expanding this ball, keep expanding it until this ball becomes the size of the universe. Tell me, will the question change just because the size has increased? It absolutely will not change. The question will still remain, where did this universe come from? Where did it come from with these specific properties? Why did it come? Who created it? That question will remain valid even then. However, this question, if we were to ask this question to Mr. Javed Akhtar, since his worldview is atheistic, and not just him, I mean, if you ask this question to any atheist or anyone who holds an atheistic worldview, that where did this universe come from? Their answer will either be an argument from ignorance or it will be dogmatic. They will either say that I do not know where this came from, therefore God does not exist. This is an argument from ignorance. Or they will say that this universe came into being on its own. This means that the ball should also have come into being on its own. But regarding the ball, this explanation that it came into being on its own will not be accepted. However, regarding the universe, it will be accepted. In other words, we can also call this dogma. The second thing is, our Mr. Javed Akhtar will certainly give the example of the God of the gaps as well. And he will give an example that in the olden days, when lightning would strike, people attributed it to one God. And when it rained, they attributed it to another God. They had no proof. This is not our worldview at all. This is not our worldview at all. Because by simply understanding the interpretation of the process of a natural phenomenon, how does that prove that God does not exist? I will talk more about this later, God willing. You will also see, and I expect that our respected Mr. Javed Akhtar will definitely present emotional arguments as well, which is a logical fallacy when it comes to deciding the truth. Why? For example, he will say that if God exists, then why does evil exist? Whereas I say that the existence of evil is proof of God's existence, not against it. Because if God exists, then we are all accountable to Him. And if we are accountable, then for accountability, the existence of evil is necessary. Without it, we cannot be held accountable. And if we are not accountable, then we will ask Mr. Javed Akhtar to tell us, why is there suffering in this world? If there is no God, then why is there suffering? And what about the passion of those who, after suffering, have a desire for revenge and they pass away from this world just like that? Will all their suffering go in vain? Now, let's go back to that same example of the ball. If someone were to ask me who made this ball or who made this expanded ball, I would say that since this universe and all things in this universe are contingent, being contingent means that it depends on something else for its existence. So it's obvious that this universe is contingent. And if something is not contingent, then I would request you to show me what thing in the universe is not contingent. We too can ponder over it and see for ourselves. And when contingent things exist, then according to the terminology of philosophers, according to that terminology, we reach that point and that entity which is called the necessary being. This is that necessary being whose non-existence is impossible. Because if it did not exist, then nothing would come into existence at all. And all these contingent things depend on it. Now, if you ask the question, then who created that entity? What is its cause? What is its cause? What is its cause? And you go on endlessly. We call this the infinite regress of causes, which is a logical fallacy. Conceptually, infinity is possible. For example, numerals. 1, 2, 3, you can keep counting. There are infinite numbers. I am not talking conceptually. Practically, in reality, prove to me whether an infinite regress of causes is possible or not. If it is possible, then we will accept it, give an example. And if it's not possible, then only one option remains, which we call the necessary being. Such a necessary being that is independent. Because if it were dependent, it would no longer be necessary. Such an independent being that is eternal. If it is not eternal, if it has a beginning, then it itself is contingent. A being that is powerful because to actualize the contingent, power is needed. A being that is intelligent and knowledgeable because this universe runs precisely according to specific forms and specific laws of nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mufti Sahab. After these arguments, I would like to request Javed Akhtar Sahab. Would you like to speak while sitting or from there? Yes.
First of all, I would like to give Mufti Sahab some good news, which is that my knowledge about science is very ordinary. So don't you worry about that. But I do have some common sense. Look, this concept of God is not a new concept. It has existed for centuries. Some religions might be 3,000 years old or 4,000 years old, but humans have existed in the form of Homo sapiens for some 10,000, 12,000 years, and there have always been some religion. These religions were not for the ignorant. These religions belonged to a Greek society where great philosophers were born. This religion belonged to the Egyptians who built the pyramids. It belonged to the Romans, whose architecture and Senate, the very first foundation of democracy, was limited. But it was a democracy. It was done by those people. So their Jupiter, Ra, Zeus, they had as much faith in them as any religious person today would have in their God. Before the advent of Christianity, there was a religion in Europe, the Germanic religion. It had a god, he had a wife, He had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Then when Christianity came to Germany, to Europe, that god, his wife, and the entire family disappeared. So if we look at history, gods are mostly mortal. They haven't always existed. And the people who believed in them, you might say they were ignorant, that they didn't know anything. That's not the case. In their time, they were very capable people. And in their time, they did great things. They were philosophers. They were scientists. But where did their religion go? Where did their gods go? The gods that exist in the world today, people believe in them. What do you know about what will happen after so many years? We see in Europe that the churches are now empty. So things change with time. As far as religions are concerned, every religion asks one thing of you: faith. What is this thing called faith? What is the difference between faith and belief? It would be a very foolish thing for someone to say, "Sir, if there is a God, then show me." That's an ignorant thing to say. I haven't seen the North Pole, but I believe that the North Pole exists. Why do I believe that? Because if this world is round, then it must have a top. There are some people who have even been there. Common sense says that it must be so. There is proof, there are witnesses, there is reason. So this is not my faith. So what is the difference between faith and belief? What religion asks of you, every religion, is faith. Faith means that there is no witness, no evidence, no rationale, no logic, no proof, but you must believe something. That is faith. Otherwise, it would be belief. If there was any proof, any witnesses, then you would call it belief. Just like I have a belief that the North Pole exists. It's not my faith. Faith rejects all of these conditions. Then what is stupidity? If I believe something for which there is no logic, no rationale, no proof, no witness, no evidence, and I still believe it, then that is stupidity. By that token, if tomorrow I start believing that Elon Musk is my brother, I will be extremely happy. I will also get a lot of peace. But if someone asks, "Brother, why do you believe it? What's the proof? He's an American and you're an Indian. Racially, you've never even met him. Sir, look, this is my faith. Let's not talk about it." The very meaning of faith is that you cannot prove it. If you can prove it, then there's no need for faith at all. Then you can have a discussion. You can debate as much as you want. Ultimately, every religion in the world is based on faith. And faith means a belief that has no proof, no witness, and no rationale. Now you might ask, why are you saying, "Sir, who created this universe?" The amazing thing is that you mentioned going to an island and seeing a ball. You didn't ask who made the island. You were only amazed by the ball. We didn't wonder about the island. Islands just exist. In the same way, these are islands, these stars, these galaxies. They are all islands in space. We take them for granted. We don't ask who made them. You didn't ask about the island either. It just is. How was I born? Was I planned? Was I planned to be born? Or was it a lucky sperm that attached itself to an egg? My birth is random. And what you call justice has nothing to do with nature at all. When you say that one day justice will be served, justice is a human concept. There is no justice in nature. If a lion eats a deer, it doesn't get any punishment. If a storm comes and uproots lush green trees, the storm doesn't go to jail. There is no justice in nature. That's why nature doesn't need justice either. Nature is complete in itself. Now, if we say, "Sir, look, my intestines did this to the food I ate, so they should be punished," no, it's a system. That's just how it works. Nature is without justice. Justice is a human concept. So whoever tells you, "I will give you justice," is a product of the human mind. It's not natural at all. It's not divine at all. The concept of nature, the concept of justice. Brother, when we come together, we decide to drive on the left. What is this? all truth, all goodness, all decency is driving on the left. Otherwise, what will happen? Either you'll create chaos, you'll have an accident, or you'll kill someone, or there will be a traffic jam. Lies, dishonesty, bribery, all of these are like driving on the wrong side. There's nothing beyond this. We are the ones who created it, just like we created the left-hand drive. This concept of justice, it is ours. It has nothing to do with nature. A lion eats a deer, does it go to jail? Nothing happens at all? It simply doesn't exist. So the justice that the world's religions promise you, this itself proves that it is man-made. This concept doesn't come from anywhere else. Nature, some people say that nature itself is God. So there is no justice anywhere in nature. And you are promising that you will get justice after you die. If I get it, I will be very happy. But I can't bring myself to believe it, because I cannot generate faith. The very fact that religions demand faith, it means that they don't have a justification. All right then. If religion is in moderation, any religion, it must also instill some good qualities in you. Look, it has this benefit and that benefit. Alcohol is used in most medicines. And a survey was conducted in America to see who has greater longevity. So on one side were people who didn't drink at all, and on the other were those who drank a bottle of alcohol every day. The ones with the longest lifespan are those who drink 2 measured pegs of alcohol and eat their food. But we consider alcohol to be bad. I also consider it bad. Why? It doesn't happen that way. Some things have a tendency to grow. A man drinks milk. If you meet him 10 years later, he will still be drinking just 1 glass. It's not like he keeps drinking milk all day long. I have never seen a milkaholic, but there are alcoholics. This is the tendency of religion, that it grows, just like cancer grows, just like alcoholism grows. There must be some people who use it in the right way. I am sure that our Mufti Sahab is one of them. I was very happy to meet him. But how many such people are there? When you look at the destruction in the world today, how much of it is caused by those who are believers? People say religion doesn't teach this. It probably doesn't. But when they drink religion, they behave this way. If it's in a small amount, perhaps it's a very good thing. But alcohol doesn't stay in small amounts. It has a tendency to spread. If there are just 2 or 3 cancer cells in the body, the person will remain slim, but those 2 or 3 cells don't stay that way. They multiply. Javed Sahab, your time is up. Is my time up? Then that's it. My point is made. Anyway, I didn't have anything else to say. Yes, first I would like to invite for the response round. Mufti Sahab, it's your rebuttal, round 1. You have 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Javed Sahab. We were very delighted to hear you. Mehsoos, do you understand? We enjoyed it. Okay, now let's look at it a bit logically.
Actually, yesterday we requested both Mufti Sahab and Javed Sahab to use the Hindustani language, which is easy for everyone to understand. And wherever you use a difficult word, please explain it as well.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, our respected Javed Sahab gave the reference that God is mortal. So many religions came and went. Someone considered Jupiter as God, someone else considered something else. I say that whoever considered a contingent thing as God was wrong. That is not God at all. That is not God. We are here to prove the necessary being, that necessary cause which is eternal, which is both everlasting and without beginning. We are not here to prove anything else. The second thing he said was faith and belief. This is a definition of faith that he has presented for the first time, or forgive me, he has not presented it for the first time. Richard Dawkins presented it for the first time. I know where this source is from. Epistemologically, you cannot differentiate between faith and belief in this way, sir. Faith can be right and it can be wrong. Belief can be right and it can be wrong. The one that is backed by logic, reason, and evidence, that faith will be correct. And the faith you are talking about, that it's illogical and has nothing behind it, then we are on the same page. We don't accept that faith. A faith that has no logic, no evidence behind it, we don't accept it. We believe in the faith that has logic and evidence behind it. So belief can be right and it can be wrong. Faith can also be right and wrong. So today, we are not talking about the difference between faith and belief. Today, whether you accept faith or belief doesn't matter. Today, the discussion is about what is truth, whether a true belief is correct or a true faith is correct, and what is a false faith and what is a false belief. That is the topic of discussion. The second thing he asked is, then what is stupidity? If faith, religion is not stupidity, then what is? Since they demand faith, then what is stupidity? I say stupidity is atheism. The reason is that if you are walking on a road and you go into a garden and see it written there with flowers, I love Javed Akhtar, and I really do. I love you, sir. When you finally get there, after you have arrived at your destination, now tell me honestly, will you actually say, wow, what an example of natural selection? Is this really what you would call natural selection? No. This is precisely designed. There is a designer behind it. Therefore, if someone does not accept such a common sense matter that the universe, which works so precisely, we say it came into being on its own. I believe there is no greater stupidity than this. This is an irrational thing. Then our sir said that you focused on the ball, you did not focus on the island. Hey, I'm giving the example of the ball, precisely to explain who made the island. And the ball is contingent, and the island is also contingent. Both of them demand a necessary being. Moving on, he said that there is no justice in nature. We decide what morality is and what justice is. We decide, just like the traffic rules for driving. No God has dictated this. This is called a false equivalence. It's a logical fallacy. You gave the example of driving and traffic. This is subjective morality. You cannot use subjective morality as an example and impose it upon objective morality. Justice is objective morality. If you say that there is no justice in nature, then the absence of justice becomes natural. So then, let nature be nature. Why are we striving so much to bring justice into the world? This is an illogical point, an irrational point. Therefore, there are many things that are objectively evil or good, and there are many things that are subjective. What is subjectively moral or immoral? We decide that through social consensus or personal preference. But objective morality, which includes justice that he repeatedly mentioned, is objective, not subjective. If you say this is subjective, then my question to you is this. If oppression is deemed correct through social consensus, will you then justify that oppression? The second thing, he said that if you have 2 drinks of alcohol, you don't stop there, it increases. The same is the case with religion. You have 2 drinks, it will increase. So this is an example that you can fit anywhere. That when you fit it on atheism, when you take 2 pegs of atheism, it will grow and grow to become North Korea. Thank you.
For the first round of rebuttal, I am inviting Javed Sahab. You have 7 minutes. Please reset it.
I'm happy that Mufti Sahab has also accepted that there is no justice in nature. So anything that has not been made by man does not have justice in it. Let me tell you something, and you can verify this. The very beautiful flowers you see when you go to a garden, none of them are natural. All these flowers have been created through crossbreeding. The flowers in the jungle are very ordinary. These flowers that you admire in the garden have been made by humans. They are man-made. They have been created by crossbreeding different flowers, developing them, and then crossbreeding them again. They are not natural flowers. You won't find roses in any jungle or wilderness. All these have been made by man. Man has done many things. But the thing is, you haven't answered one of my questions, which I have a complaint about. What is faith? And why do you ask for faith from me? You are logical. You have all the rationales. You have all the proofs. So why do you demand faith? That you should surrender and not ask questions. No religion allows you to ask all the questions. And it forbids you from asking too many questions, saying you will go astray. Why do you stop it? The reality is, what is human history? Human history is that there have been 2 types of people in the world. One, those who have worshipped their ignorance. The others are those who have fought against their ignorance and have tried to find out what is what. What you are saying, today you are surprised. How was this universe created? People used to be surprised. If the sun sets here, how does it rise from there? And you are ready to go one step and accept something as eternal. Why not just stop one step earlier? You go beyond that and say, don't question where this came from. This power has always existed and will always exist. So what's the problem in accepting that about the universe? Just stop one step earlier. Whether it always existed or not, we do not know. And to say that we do not know, the amazing thing is that all the religions of the world know everything. How this world was created, how it will end, what will happen after death. They have knowledge of everything. None of them knew that dinosaurs used to exist before. No one knew. There is no mention of dinosaurs in any religious book in the world. But they know everything else, how to make a universe in 4 easy lessons and all the rest. The one who knows everything is the problem. We should have this modesty, this humility to say that there are many things we do not know. But let's not worship it. Let's not worship our own ignorance. We should try to find it out. The world you're sitting in, sir, this hall, this electricity, this microphone, the airplane you came on, the car you came here in, all these things were made by those who asked questions. This world, the very one in which you are comfortable today, was created by those who dared to ask questions. And at every stage, these questions were often called abominable. They were frequently labeled as wrong. You should read history. There's a very interesting book by Bertrand Russell in which he wrote Religion and Science, about since when religions have been against science. And the extent of it is that they were against the steam engine, and fatwas were issued against it. The Vatican issued them. So this always, as soon as these right-wingers come to power in America, then that, what do you call it? Seeds. What, son? What seeds? The ones, yes, the seeds that are there. Yes? No, brother. The ones in the human body. Genes. Janice. Research on that gets shut down. The Republicans don't allow it. Brother, what are you so afraid of? At one time, all these religious people were very angry that man is trying to create another human. What's your problem? If they can create one, let them. What is this fear? And all these things that you call impossible today, how did they happen? I remember a story when I was in the 6th grade. I was very weak in mathematics, so a tutor was hired for me. He taught me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can never forget that day. The day he explained to me what 1/2 is and what 3/4 is. I felt like my head would just split open. It was as if the man was telling me to walk through a wall. Today, I laugh at that. So, the things that are completely beyond your comprehension today, and you are amazed by them, a time will come when they will seem ordinary. And it has happened. That is human history. Don't be so quick to make all the judgments. Have a little humility and say, we don't know this. What's the harm in saying that? How far does this universe extend? When did it begin and how long will it last? We don't know. You have decided when it was created. According to you, it was created some 14 billion years ago, as is understood. Before that, for thousands, millions, billions of years, what was God doing? Was he sitting silently just like that, yawning? Then he got an idea. Hey, let's do something. It'll be a good way to pass the time. Let's create a universe. He has always existed, right? But the universe has not always existed. It was created. And what was there before that? What was his job? How absurd. It's very easy. The things we are slowly discovering today after many years, someone told you 2,000 or 2,500 years ago, and you just believed it. And since then, you've been believing the same thing that was said 2,500 years ago. Everything has changed. Things are being solved. Right now, science makes no such claim, nor does any philosopher claim that we know everything. Rather, it says that the more we know, the more we realize how little we actually know. So let us fight our ignorance, not worship it.
Yes, time's up. Thank you. Thank you so much. In this ongoing series of arguments, I would now like to invite Mufti Sahab to join us for round 2. You will once again have 7 minutes to present your points.
Thank you. Mr. Javed Akhtar has repeatedly asked, tell me the meaning of faith. Tell me the meaning of faith. I have already explained, faith can be right and it can also be wrong. And today we are not talking about faith. We are talking about truth and does God exist? Does God exist? This truth, meaning whether God exists or not, what is the truth between the two? Now you can call it faith, you can call it belief. That's not my business. After that, you said that religion stops people from asking questions. I say, if a religion stops it, it may do so. I don't stop it. Rather, one should ask questions. It is by asking questions that we move forward and progress. And that is why I am here today. But questions won't just be for God, they'll be for you too. Questions will be for atheism too. Questions won't just be for religion, they'll be for everyone. And today I will ask questions and I hope you will answer. By the way, you still haven't given an answer to the contingency argument. All right, you said, why not just say the universe is eternal? That's because it's not logically possible for the universe to be eternal. The universe is a contingent thing that is subject to time and space. It is bound by time and space. Whatever is bound by time and space will be contingent. Whatever is contingent must have had a beginning. Whatever has had a beginning cannot be eternal. This is a simple matter. You said that there is no mention of dinosaurs in any religious book. Unfortunately, to this day, I have not found any mention of dinosaurs in any mathematics book. So does that mean a mathematics book is useless? No, that is not its topic. The topic of revelation and religious books is not to come and tell you how to make a bicycle or to come and tell you when dinosaurs existed. It has come to teach morality. It has come to tell about God. It has come to teach the truth of non-physical reality. Religion stops science. It doesn't. If it does, it's wrong. Religion stops scientism, which our Javed Sahab subscribes to. Science, there's a difference between science and scientism. Scientism is when you believe that science and scientific methodology are the only source of knowledge. This is scientism. We reject this. We do advanced science. You can go through our entire history, read it, and you will find out. Anyway, that's a different topic. After that, he used the phrase, the Vatican issued a fatwa. The Vatican has nothing to do with fatwas. The two words are contradictory. After that, he said, well, we don't know. If you don't know, then just say clearly that you don't know. What's the harm in that? So that's what I'm saying, that you should say you don't know, but why are you claiming that God does not exist? You should say you don't know. Maybe he exists, maybe he doesn't, but you are making a claim. The moment you say God does not exist, this is a claim. And now the burden of proof is upon you too, just as it is upon us. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that is. Philosophically, when a claim is made, it's not just that a person can make a positive claim, and if they make a negative claim, there's no burden of proof. For example, if I say that there is no one in that room, I have made a claim of knowledge. There is no one in that room. I have made a claim of knowledge. Or I could say, I don't know, there might be someone or there might not be. This is not a claim. But when I say that there is no one there or I say there is someone there, both are claims and both have a burden of proof. We also have a burden of proof. I gave the contingency argument. Go ahead and refute it. Lastly, he said, what was God doing 150 years or millions of years before creating the world? Oh, sir. Anyway, I'll give the answer. You are a respected personality. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even entertain this. Time. 100 years ago or 100 years later. Before, after, now. These are all words that are related to time. Time itself began after the beginning of the universe. So to ask what God was doing before that, the question is illogical. It's a fallacy, meaning you are asking what God was doing before the universe was created. Before time was created, the word before is related to time. Time didn't even exist then, so the question itself is invalid in relation to God. Secondly, the argument from contingency that I have presented to you. You have repeatedly brought this up and are talking about the God of the gaps. Look, we didn't know before, then science explained it. Let me explain with a simple example. The gaps that you are talking about, whatever science uses to fill those gaps, that thing itself will be contingent, whether it's a force, matter, or energy. Therefore, our question will still be valid until you arrive at a necessary being. And an infinite regress of causes is not possible in the practical world. So obviously we have to stop somewhere, and where we stop, that is God. The second thing, you have... What was I saying? What was the point? What? No, after that, just now. I mean, literally just now. Yes, where we stop, that is God. Anyway, so we've mentioned time. God of the gaps, sorry, yeah. Let me give you an example. There's a car. A gentleman saw that the car's wheels are so well fitted in the right place. The steering is placed so well, and the seats are so well designed. How precisely this car is working, so surely someone must have created it. Someone created it. Now, if Javed Sahab comes and says, "Oh sir, open the bonnet, there's an engine inside, the engine is running the car," hence proved no one has created the car. This is illogical. This is irrational. You explained that gap using the engine, but does that make the car's creation and its creator impossible? Is that possible? Does the question simply disappear? Is that possible? No. By filling the gaps with contingent things, you have broadened our observation. Now we have learned even more about how complex this car's system is. Before, we understood less. Now the complexity has become more apparent. Now we understand that our certainty has increased, that someone must have definitely made this car. The same is the case with the universe. Science will always keep filling the gaps with things from the physical world, and it will do so with physical things because empirical evidence is related to the physical world. You can never prove metaphysical reality through science. This is using the wrong tool. This is the same as going to detect plastic with a metal detector, which is obviously not correct. Thank you. Yes. This is round 2 of the argument. You have 7 minutes.
First, let me say that you said when the universe didn't exist, time didn't exist, nothing existed. How could that be? God existed. There was an existence, wasn't there? God's existence. So if God existed, then time must have existed too. It's not that nothing existed, God existed. Okay, and then you said, "Sir, you prove it, you have logic, and I have logic, so you prove it. It's not my responsibility to prove that God exists." Bertrand Russell said something very good. If I claim to you that a teapot is revolving around Mars, then it is not your job to prove that there is no teapot. It is my job. I have made the claim. This claim is made by religious people that God exists. Why should I prove that he doesn't? Until you convince me, I will not believe it. It is your responsibility. It is not my responsibility. Secondly, what you are saying, these gaps, whenever these gaps challenge any religion, when something like this comes up, there is an uproar. That when they challenge any faith, all of this science at different places, at different times, religion has tried to stop it. This is the book Religion and Science by Bertrand Russell. You should read it. You will like it. This is the history of science, of religion. This is its relationship with science. Okay, now if we think that anyway, this existence of religion and this belief in God makes a person better, then do one thing. Take a world map and mark where religion is more prevalent. Wherever it is, whether it's Latin America or the Middle East or the Far East or those areas of India where religiosity is high, put that map aside. Now another map. Where is there injustice, repression, violation of women's rights, oppression? Where is there dictatorship? The map will be the same. So you tell me, what are the instructions for its use? Tell me the instructions for using God. When you sell a small medicine on the street, you provide its instructions for use as well. No one has benefited from its use. All the bad countries, the bad societies, they commit all their atrocities in the name of God. Whether they do wrong or right, what do I have to do with that? It's known by its use, isn't it? Perhaps you may have seen a bottle of whiskey sometime. It's red in color and light shines on it. It looks beautiful. What harm is it doing to anyone? Its use is wrong. That's why you dislike it. Its use is wrong. The very use of this concept is wrong, and it has always been wrong. You can see for yourself. Look at human history. Look at today. Look at India. Look at the world. What is happening? How are people of faith using it? Are they fair? Are they just? Those who believe in their gods, what kind of people are they? Do they give justice to people? Have they become better human beings? So what is the benefit of this medicine? Fine. If there's a great benefit, then I'll use it too. But I don't see any benefit of this medicine. It seems to me, let me tell you one more thing. If a person is religious and is a good person, then I respect him a lot. Because I think it's more difficult for a religious person to be good than it is for me to be good. Brother, everything has a limit. You can run this much, but not more. You can lift this much weight, but not more. You can see this far, but not farther. Similarly, common sense says that you must also have a quota for goodness. Now, if you go to your place of worship in the morning and pray, when you come out, you feel that you have done a very good deed. A very large part of your quota of goodness has been spent, from which no one has benefited. I don't go, so I have to feed someone, I have to help a widow. How else do I consume my quota? All you religious people use your quota on extremely useless tasks. Even after that, if you have a little bit of decency left, then wow, that's amazing.
One thing I really like is that both scholars believe in time, and they have been presenting their arguments for a long time and sometimes finishing their speeches before time and sitting back in their respective chairs. This completes round 2 of this argument. Now it's round 2 of the rebuttal, and after that, there will be a cross-examination.
My argument?
No, your argument is done, sir. In our country, the story Panch Parmeshwar, written by Premchand Ji, is taught in the school syllabus. Rest assured, I will not let you miss any of your rounds. Rebuttal round 2, Mufti Shamail Nadwi Sahab.
Actually, the real problem, the core problem, is that Javed Sahab's concept of God is not clear. He said that God existed before the universe, so time must have existed then too. This God, universe, time is a part of the universe. We believe in a God, a necessary being that must be timeless because he is the creator of time. When he created time, how could he himself be in time? When he created space, how could he himself be in space? If he is already bound by time and space, then what did he create? Therefore, this question is wrong. That if God existed, time must have existed. Absolutely not. We are bound by time, God is not. We belong to the physical world. He is a metaphysical reality. Secondly, he gave the example of a teapot revolving in the air, and I don't know, maybe he was referencing Bertrand Russell. Anyway, this is the problem, that we are unable to differentiate between things. The example you gave is imagination, and what I am proving is a logical necessity. Applause. If you want to imagine, you can imagine anything. There's a pink elephant on Jupiter, there's a unicorn, go ahead. How does that affect the universe? You cannot prove a logical necessity with that. I am talking about that prime cause, that necessary being without which the existence of this universe is not possible. Secondly, that science challenges religion, etc., etc. That is not our topic. If I talk about this, my time will run out. Since our discussion is not on religion, science, religion, and especially me and our worldview at least, do not hold science back. It condemns scientism. I have already clarified this. The second thing he said was to take a world map of 2 different places. Sir, I had done this homework, and I took a map of the Middle East and a map of Europe. This is the religious region, and this is the liberal and atheist region. I found out that the highest number of rape cases are there. Applause. I found this out according to a UN report. I am not making this up. That among the working women in European countries, 81% of women are victims of sexual harassment at work. This is not happening in the Middle East. They are religious people. That's why it's not happening. Secondly, you said that for a religious person to be good is much more difficult than for us to be good. Very difficult. So this means that besides God, you have some standard of good and bad. I would like to talk about this in the conversational style discussion and segment. Thank you very much.
When you're talking and arguing with me, don't tell me it's metaphysical. Prove it to me logically. And if you can't speak logically and say, sir, this is metaphysical, then what are we even talking about? In what language will our conversation take place? And to say that time didn't exist before, then why do you say it has always existed and will always exist? Always implies time. So how can you say it has always existed and will always exist? The meaning of always is sometime. If there is no time, then how can it be always? Anyway, it will remain. Now, I see you said that more rapes happen there. So we see one thing, that this world, over which he is the Almighty, without whose will not even a leaf moves, is omnipotent. How is this world functioning? And what is the state of this world? 45,000 children who were under the age of 10 have died in Gaza. Children die of hunger in Kalahandi, and they die of diphtheria. Diphtheria is a strange disease. A membrane starts to form in the throat, the child turns blue. A poor person's child, because they don't have access to treatment. This is the Almighty who can do whatever he wants. You pray to him, do this for us, do that for us. So this means that in day-to-day life, he interferes, and he is watching this. If he really exists, for discussion's sake. So when I look at the world, I don't feel any respect for him in my heart. What are you doing? You are completely all-powerful. You are omnipotent. You are omnipresent. You must have been there in Gaza, right? You are everywhere. You were watching how the child was being blown to smithereens. You were watching, and you want me to worship you, even if you do exist. Oh man, our chief, Prime Minister is better than this? At least he shows some concern. Who are you worshiping? Even if he exists, this world is filled with injustice, oppression, coercion, and violence. And don't tell me that he is watching and will deliver justice one day. If he is watching and doesn't interfere, then why do you pray? You say, get this work of mine done. This means he can intervene. He can get you a job even if another person doesn't get it. But he will get your work done because you prayed. So when he can get you a job, get a daughter married, get a son a green card, then at least he should stop these children who are dying. He should do something. For me, if there is a master of this world, an omnipotent ruler, and the world is running like this, I would wish that he didn't exist. If it is, then it's a matter of great shame. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 rounds and 2 rebuttals of this debate have been completed. Now, the most important and most difficult round is starting the cross-examination. Now, the decency of these scholars will also be put to the test, and we have set a time of 16 minutes for it. Would you like to ask the first question? Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. You were the one who spoke first, after all.
Please take the mic in your hand. Let's get this removed. It turns on from the bottom. Let's have this removed now. Let's have this dais removed. Yes, I'll say it.
Can we have this dais removed a little quickly, please? Move it back. Just move the dais back a little bit, all right? So that the people sitting on the left and right, just remove it completely. We're not going to go there anyway. Carefully, carefully, carefully. Please remove it from both sides. In the meantime, you all can also prepare your questions. Please keep in mind that I will be taking the questions from here. You will have to raise your hand, state your name, and ask your question in a maximum of 3 sentences. Many people start giving a speech instead of asking a question. We have to avoid that today. Yes, Mufti Sahab, the first question is yours. You have 16 minutes. We will take questions from both of you. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. What you just said was very important. I would like to discuss it further, but since this is the cross-examination segment, so the very first question to you is that the contingency argument I was explaining for so long, I was explaining it through reason, sir. Please tell me, do you consider an infinite regress of causes to be possible, or do you believe in the existence of a necessary being? Because there can only be 2 options. Please tell me.
Look, I will tell you.